Hey there, Leo Ascendant. So this is a forecast taking you from the March equinox, March 2026 equinox on the 20th of March, right the way through to the following 20th of March. So this is the astrological new year, which happens every year when the sun reaches 0 Aries. And so it's quite, ambitious to talk about the themes for a whole year in about 25 minutes. But that's what I'm going to do. And what I want to do is pace you through some of the positions of the major planets, talk about, the overall effect of having them in the particular houses that they're showing up in, and also talk about a couple of alignments that are coming up in this year ahead. So really, this is showing you a lot about what path you're taking, from how your focus is changing, how you're healing, innovating, surrendering, and then obviously giving you a little bit of a heads up about some of the most poignant moments, I would say. Now, given that given that Jupiter is heading into your first house this year, and also that the South Node is moving into your first house, this is going to be really energizing how you see yourself. Your identity is, I think you're defining comfort about yourself in terms of your identity. Now, at the same time, you've got ongoing Pluto. He's been there for about 18 months in your 7th house. And later on this year, the North Node is going to go into your 7th house. And so this is going to be bringing up a real transformation in terms of how you see the people in your life. And so this is actually the thing that I would say is going to be creating the most change for you. It's like, how can you feel more comfort, ease, and well-being in yourself? And also, how can you come to understand the huge changes going on in the people around you? To me, that's where a lot of this is taking place. But with Uranus finally changing signs and going into your 11th house in April, and also the new positions of Saturn and Neptune in your 9th house, there's also going to be, I would say, a very sort of expanded worldview caused through being further away from home and having your mind kind of taken out your local narrative. So it feels like you're really expanding your mind. And then I think there are some very exciting people also coming into your life as well. So there's a lot to contend with. So let's start diving down. I'm going to be doing it in quite a methodical way, which isn't really like me, but it's because there's so much to include that I don't want to really miss anything out. Now, this is also created using a whole sign model. And that really equates to Leo equals your first house, Virgo equals your second, Libra your third, and so on and so forth. If you look at your birth chart and you see that you've got both Leo and also the symbol for Virgo in your first house, then that's also a nudge to you to listen to the Virgo forecast, because there will always be some relevance and resonance with that one too. Anyway, let's get going. So, yeah, okay. So we're going to start then with the eclipses and the nodes. So the eclipses, when they take place, they are going to be highlighting these yellow areas, this one here and this one here. In particular, I would say we need to really pay attention to what's going on here, because this is where the North Node is. Now, the North Node, at the start of this year ahead, starting on March the 20th, 2026, is at 8 degrees in the sign of Pisces in your 8th house. To me, for the last year, you've been really dealing with and I guess getting some relief in terms of old family patterns, those kind of family patterns that, have been maybe unsolvable. You're starting to create movement and a bit more flexibility around family. And also your own attitudes towards other members of the family have changed and transformed. Now, I would say that one of the things about that is about you creating a deeper sense of trust in yourself to be able to trust other people. So, for instance, what I really see is going on, that as you do trust yourself, you're able to trust that whatever the people around you are throwing your way or kind of, sort of bringing into your life just through your proximity or your relationship, to me, it feels like you've got the trust to know that you can handle anything that comes up. So in many ways, one of the things that you've been working on is, how do I handle life? And so this nodal position is about you coming back into trust with your life. Excuse me. Now, around the 29th, I think, of June, July, when is it? I've got it written down here somewhere. But I've got so many different things, it's hard to focus on what it is. It's 26th of July. Around the 26th of July, the North Node is going to head into your 7th house. And so where you've been building trust and rebuilding trust and relationships with people in your family matrix, to me, those skills that you've earned along the way are now going to be helping you build much better intimate relationships. So whether you're already in a relationship, you're in a long relationship, a new relationship, a failing relationship, whatever is going on, as the North Node comes into the 7th house, this is going to transform your relationship. So you know whether they are absolutely for you or not. You might actually realize this is coming into a time when your relationship really isn't for you. There's nothing you can do with it. And it would be better for both of you to go your different ways. But I'm actually a lot more hopeful about this, because with the North Node having gone through the 8th house, you've learned some really useful life skills. And I think it's also really helping you learn what is yours and what's not yours. And so, if anything, I think the boundaries are where you're going to be focusing your energy on, how do I manage everything that's mine and allow you the space to manage what's yours? Now, of course, with Pluto going through this, he will have given you quite a lot of material to be working with there as well. And you may well have found over the last year or so that your partner or the people around you are just getting stronger and stronger and stronger. And of course, by default, you might start to question yourself and feel maybe not as vital as they are. And this is where Jupiter's really coming in, because for the last, since June of last year, he's been in your 12th house in the sign of Cancer. He's really brought in a lot of extra sort of communication with your intuitive self. I think you've had a lot of access to, how do I feel well-being and peace in being myself, So I think your practice of peace and then Jupiter coming into your 1st house is going to be really, really helpful. Jupiter coming into your 1st house, unfortunately, can sometimes bring up some weight gain. You can absolutely grow larger than life physically, but this is about you starting to like yourself a bit more. To me, this is understanding that there's a lot more to you than usual, that you're ready to expand, you're ready to evolve, you're ready to believe in yourself. Jupiter brings a lot to the fore in terms of confidence and belief. Like, what do you believe in? I believe in myself. This is quite helpful. You might also find that you're quite jolly as Jupiter comes into this part of your chart, and he's going to be there for a long time. He's going to be there right the way through until March 2027 and beyond that as well. But as you start the next year, Jupiter will still be in the 1st house for you. So to me, this is a bit of an upgrade of sorts. Your mood, your humor is going to get a lot more kind of fun. You're going to want to connect into things, I guess, as you're really working on what's yours, really understanding what belongs to you, what you're responsible for, kind of lets you off the hook of a lot of things. It allows you to focus on yourself much more. And even though that might sound like, oh, how does that work with my relationships? But giving yourself the space to be you is vital. And that's one of the biggest messages, I think, that's going on. Now, with the South Node having gone through your 2nd house, to me, it's been reminding you of all the times when actually you've been very strong, when you've been very resourceful, when you've had everything that you needed to get the job done. And I think that has probably brought with it a sense of confidence. And as the South Node comes into your 1st house, there's the remembrance of your brilliance, the times, those parts of you that were always good and maybe got discounted or left behind. When you're a kid and you're full of beans, if you've got a small child around you, you'll know that they're so full of life, and they fascinate themselves and they have a good laugh at themselves, and they're like little drunks sometimes, and what I really see here is there's a part of you, or maybe several parts of you, that have been absolutely magnificent, that for one reason or another, possibly to do with some old misery guts in your family matrix, someone would have said something and you started to hide a part of you. So I actually see that as the South Node is coming into your first house and Jupiter into your first house from their respective directions, I actually think you're lifting yourself up. You're remembering some of the best parts of you that are really ready now, because they're safe to come out. They're safe to come out and for you to play with, that side of you. So I think there's a really nice side to this happening. This is about you coming into a better trust in yourself. And also this is restoring hope in who you are. It's very, very light-hearted. Can be a bit boozy too. So if you've got a tendency for that, it's worth just paying that a little bit of attention to that. Now, Saturn and Neptune, of all the signs around this wheel, or all the houses, I would say this is one of the least troublesome houses for you to have Saturn and Neptune currently in. They can both be a pain in the butt, and they can both bring up some problems wherever they go. Saturn is a bit of a taskmaster, and he shows you where you've messed up. He shows you where your limits are, and Neptune can bring about a little bit of confusion. However, they've both got really great gifts as well. Neptune allows you to see creative potential and to feel connected to everything, which is not an easy thing to translate into the real world, is it? We are very much encouraged to be in the rational world, and everything that is rational seems more real somehow. And yet Neptune seems to be cast aside, as fictional. But the Neptunian side, that softness, that gentleness, that beauty, that creativity, that intuition, healing, potential, higher love, it's going to be, you've got the opportunity for it to take shape with Saturn. Saturn isn't just going to be a pain in the arse. He's also there to help you learn discernment and to create shape and form around your beautiful ideas. Now, just so happens in the 9th house, the ideas around it are about travel, a higher perspective about life, a different way of seeing your spiritual beliefs, your political beliefs. In fact, everything to do with beliefs and knowledge are likely to go deeper and deeper than you've ever gone before. But they're also there to, it's almost like, I think, a renaissance of what you know and how deep and broad your sight can become. The 9th house is also very much about teaching and sharing and broadcasting. So it really wouldn't surprise me if the amazing skills you've already got just deepen during this time, and that you might start to share them, especially if your confidence grows, and especially if you fall in love with yourself again with the South Node coming through this part, and especially if you can find value in yourself. It's going to be very easy for you to demonstrate your learning like that. I think that's going to be great. Now, Chiron, this is quite a big movement. Wherever Chiron goes, he shows us what's left to heal, and where we might struggle with healing. And he can also show us where there's a mentor or two around, and also how we can become a mentor ourselves. I always think that Chiron shows us where we feel vulnerable and encourages us to do something about it. So where he's been, he might have shown a bit of vulnerability, to do with travel, to do with a far off distant place. And it might also sort of describe how you've come to terms with it, how you've reduced the level of vulnerability by facing your pain or facing what feels raw. Now he's going to be popping into Taurus on the 19th of June. He's going to be there for 3 months, and then he's going to go back into Aries. And then later in 2027, he will come back into Taurus again, although I think that's in the next astrological new year. But you're going to get a taster of what it's like with him in the 10th house. And so this could bring up a feeling of career vulnerability. It could bring up a feeling of, am I capable? Am I responsible? Am I a leader in my own right? It can bring up some vulnerability about that for sure. The flip side of it is it could show where you're helping others with their careers, that you could be the coach, you could be the mentor. And I think mostly it's going to be showing where you're doing a bit of both, where you're refining something that is a weakness in yourself, so that then you can help the next load of people along. You're helping people climb up with you. So I really see that this is like rising with the same tide. Now with this as well, Chiron going into the sign of Taurus, he's very much about the natural world. He's very much about natural wealth, natural health, natural cycles, and also about feeling comfortable in your career. So anything around healing, being comfortable, being natural is going to be a huge theme for you in this next year, and actually beyond that. Like I say, you're getting a 3-month taster. And once you get that taster of it, I recommend that you start working with that energy anyway, even if it's not due to hit until, I think, is it April of 2027? Not entirely sure, but it will be further into 2027 beyond March. But once you get that sort of instinct for the next step in your healing process, I think getting a head start would be very, very beneficial. Now, Uranus is going to be also moving finally, and he's going to be staying in Gemini. Now, you got a taster of this of around about, I think it was 3 months last year as well. And he had been in your 10th house since 2018. Now, I live with somebody who's got Taurus 10th house, and I can attest when Uranus went into the sign of Taurus, all hell broke loose in terms of their aspirations to do with their career and the level of independence that they were seeking. And I really do see that Uranus in the 10th house really seeks to free us from anything that feels like it's too much responsibility, it's too hard, it's not fun enough, it's not high-minded enough. And so you can often talk yourself out of a regular income. However, having Uranus go through the 10th house, it would have freed you up in so many ways. It absolutely would have caused some instability, but you really will have freed yourself up now. And now he's going into the 11th house, with your freer mind and with the creative energy you've got in your 9th house. I think as he goes into Gemini, he is helping you find the right kind of spontaneous, free, enlightened, happy, unusual, original people to align with. There's a sense of creativity. And the 11th house, I also think of as a place of the law of attraction, because you are co-creating your reality with another energy, maybe not another person, but, with the Lord, God, the universe, whoever you believe, like Kuan Yin, whoever you are creating with, Uranus is there absolutely making those connections and helping you to surrender to spontaneity through your connections. And so, yes, there are some really lovely energies lifting you up in this year ahead and beyond that. Now, I've already mentioned Pluto a little bit, in the 7th house. You're already in contact with lots of powerful people, and that's likely to continue. And as Uranus and Pluto continue in their trine, that's absolutely going to be powerfully transforming your life through these sort of almost like renegade way shower type people. So this brings me to 4 times in this year ahead that I think really stand out. 2 in particular that stand out across the board for all signs. And so absolutely, I need to mention both of them. So the first time in chronological order, we've got the new moon in Aries on the 16th of April. Mid-April to the end of April is really kind of standout time anyway. But the reason that I've picked around about the 16th of April is because there's going to be 7 planets in Aries. And that's really hitting in your 9th house. The 9th house is about travel, travel outside your local environment. I'm just realizing my husband's got this and he's going away during that time. My goodness. The new moon here is giving a sense of a new relationship with things that are overseas, that are different, that are creating another viewpoint for you. And there is a feeling of movement. Now, this new moon, like 7 planets in Aries, is potentially going to be shaking you awake and saying it's time for something fresh. It's time for something that you're ready to teach or broadcast or communicate or share. It's time for you to change what you've believed, and to come into a whole new reality. So I think there's something very, very fundamental going on there. And this particular new moon is also exactly in a conjunction with Chiron. So what is going on might feel very vulnerable. It could be a really core healing moment for you. The next couple of dates I think are going to be important to you would be the new moon in the first house on the 12th of August, 2026. That new moon, anytime there's a new moon in your first house, it's inviting you to have a new release, like a new reset, a new you is beckoning. It's encouraging you to start over again. Not necessarily in a way where you kind of destroy everything that's gone before, but where you come into a new appreciation of yourself. So I think that's a really important time to acknowledge. And then similarly, in January of next year, 2027, there's a full moon in your first house. Now, when the full moon comes into your first house, it is also kind of resetting. However, it's usually resetting after that full moon, because the full moon tends to bring in a lot of emotions, a lot of overwhelm. And so my advice with that, in fact, for both of them, is a week before the new moon and the full moon, start to clear space. Now, the reason why you're doing it with the new moon on the 12th of August, by the way, that is an eclipse. It's a solar eclipse. So it's a new moon eclipse at 20 degrees in the sign of Leo. I mean, it's super strong, really, really great. It's the new start of new starts. But the full moon in the first house on the 22nd of January. In fact, let me just double check. I don't think. Yeah, it's not an eclipse. I just wanted to double check that. It's not an eclipse. But the full moon, leading up to it, you want to start to, anything that doesn't feel like it's for you, let it go. Just like really, really let it go. Like drop all those things that just feel like it's too much. You don't need to deal with it. Just allow it to go, to, drop by the wayside, so that you're clearing a space, so that everything that does matter as you're coming into the full moon, the energy, the emotional energy around it is growing bigger and bigger and bigger. And it's like a birthing, like a big old pregnant belly. After that full moon comes the release. So what will you want to be releasing, the 23rd of January and beyond? Who knows? But it's very, very powerful. So all in all there, Leo, I would say that this is a very, very powerful time, because, there's this beautiful kind of semi-web. I've called it the circuit of inspiration. This lovely kind of constellation of slow-moving planets that are emphasizing the development you're going through in terms of coming into your own confidence and appreciating the other people in your life in a completely new way. There's a lot of things that are going to move from that moment. So yeah, I'm going to leave that there. Wishing you a fabulous astrological new year. If you would like to work with me on a personal level, for instance, if you want me to pay this much attention to your actual life, then feel free to click on the Calendly link that you can see. And the Calendly link will take you to a booking page where you can just book directly into my diary and invite me to work with you. Or if you want more forecasts from me in my free community on School, that's SKOOL, .com/feel-good-astrology. I do Monday to Friday forecasts covering the whole week and loads of other stuff as well. So there are fortnightly hangouts for everybody, but also within there, I'm also teaching as well. So there's loads of great stuff. So have a great one and hopefully catch up with you real soon. Lots of love. Bye for now.